There is a truth you were never taught, a truth so simple that the mind resists it. Everything you have been chasing has been waiting for you to stop chasing it. Yes, the very act of caring so deeply, of trying so hard, of holding on so tightly, has been the reason it has not appeared. You were told to work for it, to struggle for it, to prove yourself worthy of it. But what if none of that was ever necessary? What if the moment you stop caring is the moment you finally receive? Tonight, you are not here to learn how to force reality. You are here to remember how effortlessly it bends when you no longer cling to it. Listen carefully, because if you truly understand this, you will never chase anything again. There is a subtle misunderstanding that keeps most people trapped in a cycle of wanting, trying, and never quite receiving. They believe that the more they care, the closer they are to their desire. They think intensity equals effectiveness. But the truth operates in a completely different way. The more you cling, the more you delay. The more you try to force, the more you create resistance. True power begins the moment you release your grip. Detachment is not weakness. It is not giving up. It is not a lack of desire. In fact, it is the purest form of confidence. It is the quiet knowing that what you have claimed within yourself does not need constant attention to exist. When you are detached, you are no longer emotionally dependent on the outer world to confirm your inner decision. You are no longer reacting, questioning, or doubting. You have moved beyond the need for proof. Think about how you behave when something is already yours. There is no urgency, no anxiety, no obsessive thinking. You don't wake up wondering if it will still be there. You don't keep checking to make sure it hasn't disappeared. You live freely, calmly, naturally. That is the state of detachment. It is not indifference. It is possession. When you are attached, you are constantly aware of the absence of what you want. Every thought carries a subtle message. I don't have it yet. And the world, being a reflection, faithfully mirrors that state back to you. But when you detach, something shifts. You are no longer focused on the lack. You are rooted in the feeling that it is already done. And from that state, reality begins to rearrange itself without effort. Most people sabotage themselves by over-involvement. They check for signs, they look for progress, they measure time. But every time they do this, they step out of the state of having and return to the state of wanting. It's like planting a seed and digging it up every day to see if it has grown. Growth requires trust. Manifestation requires stillness. Detachment is that stillness. It is the decision to stop interfering with the process. It is the ability to remain internally fulfilled, regardless of what the outer world is showing you. This is where your true power lies, not in forcing change, but in sustaining a state that makes change inevitable. There is a deep peace that comes with detachment. You are no longer on edge. You are no longer chasing outcomes. You are simply being. And in that being, there is a silent authority. You are no longer asking reality to give you something. You are allowing it to reflect who you already are. Understand this clearly. Attachment is rooted in fear. Fear that it won't happen, fear that you might lose it, fear that you are not enough. But detachment dissolves fear. It replaces it with certainty. And certainty does not need validation. When you reach this state, manifestation becomes effortless. Not because you stopped desiring, but because you stopped doubting. You stopped interfering. You stopped caring in the way that creates resistance. So let go not of your desire, but of your neediness. Release the tension. Drop the urgency. Trust the state you have chosen. Because the moment you truly detach is the moment you step into power. There is a principle operating in your life right now, whether you are aware of it or not. It does not ask for your permission. It does not wait for your approval. It simply responds to what you have already accepted as true within yourself. This principle is the quiet force behind every experience you have ever had. Assumption. You are not experiencing life as it is. You are experiencing life as you assume it to be. Every belief you hold, every story you repeat, every inner conclusion you have accepted about yourself and the world, all of it is shaping what appears before you. And the most powerful part of this is that it happens automatically. You do not need to force reality. You only need to understand what you are consistently agreeing with within your own mind. Assumption is not about wishful thinking. It is not about pretending or hoping something will happen. It is about entering a state of inner conviction so natural that it no longer feels like an effort. It becomes your baseline, your identity. If you assume that things are difficult, life will continuously present situations that confirm that belief. If you assume you are overlooked, you will encounter experiences that reinforce that feeling. Not because the world is against you, but because it is faithfully mirroring your internal state. But the moment you change your assumption, everything begins to shift. This is where most people hesitate. They try to change the outer world first. They adjust actions, chase opportunities, and seek validation from circumstances. But the outer world is not the cause, it is the effect. Trying to change it directly is like trying to alter your reflection without moving your body. The real change happens within. You must begin to assume a new version of yourself. Not someday, not when things improve, but now. You must internally accept that you already are who you desire to be, that you already have what you seek, that it is already done. And at first, the mind may resist, it may question, doubt, or look for proof. But proof is not what creates belief. Belief creates proof. So you persist, not through force, but through gentle return. Each time you catch yourself slipping back into old assumptions, you redirect. You remind yourself of the state you have chosen. You feel it. You embody it, you live from it. Over time, it becomes easier, more natural, less like an effort and more like a truth. And then something remarkable happens. Your external world begins to reflect your inner decision. Opportunities appear. People respond differently. Situations align in ways that feel almost effortless. It may seem like coincidence, but it is not. It is the inevitable expression of your assumption. Understand this clearly: the world is not reacting to what you want. It is responding to who you believe you are. If you see yourself as lacking, you will continue to experience lack. If you see yourself as complete, the world will begin to confirm that completeness. This is not magic. It is alignment. You are always assuming something. The question is it working for you or against you? So choose deliberately. Assume the best. Assume fulfillment. Assume success, not as a distant possibility, but as a present reality within you. Do not wait for evidence. Do not seek permission. Do not ask how. Simply decide. Because the moment you truly assume something to be real, reality has no choice but to follow. There is a quiet signal you are constantly sending to reality, not through your words, but through your state of being. And that signal becomes stronger the more you try, the more you worry, and the more you care in a desperate, attached way. You may believe that your intense focus and effort are helping you move closer to your desire, but in truth, they are often doing the opposite. Because when you care too much, you are not expressing faith, you are expressing lack. Look closely at the energy behind excessive caring. It is not calm, it is not certain, it is restless, anxious, and filled with urgency. It carries a subtle message. I need this to happen, because without it something is missing. And that message is powerful. It becomes the very state you are living in, not the state of having, but the state of not having. The world does not respond to what you say you want. It responds to what you consistently feel to be true. And when your feelings are rooted in neediness, in checking, in waiting, you are reinforcing the idea that your desire is still out of reach. So even as you try to bring it closer, you are energetically pushing it further away. Think about how often you check for results. You look for signs, you analyze situations, you measure progress. Each time you do this, you are silently asking, is it here yet? And in that question lies the assumption that it is not. This is how caring too much keeps you stuck, not because desire is wrong, but because your relationship with it is rooted in absence. There is a difference between desire and dependency. Desire is natural, it is creative, it moves you forward. But dependency binds you. It makes your emotional state reliant on external confirmation. And when your inner stability depends on something outside of you, you lose your power. The one who has already received does not behave this way. When something is truly yours, there is no urgency attached to it. You don't keep checking if it exists. You don't feel anxious about losing it. You simply know. That knowing creates a calm, grounded state, a state where you are no longer seeking but being. This is the shift you must make. Instead of caring in a way that creates tension, begin to care in a way that creates alignment. Care about your inner state. Care about the identity you are embodying. But release the need to control outcomes, timelines, and circumstances. Let go of the constant monitoring. Let go of the emotional highs and lows based on what you see. Because what you see is only a reflection of what has already been assumed. It is not the place where change begins. Change begins within, quietly, subtly, without force. When you reduce the intensity of your attachment, something remarkable happens. Your mind becomes still. Your emotions stabilize. You are no longer reacting to every external shift. And in that stillness, you return to a place of quiet certainty. From that place, your desire is no longer something you are chasing. It becomes something you are aligned with. Understand this deeply. Caring too much is not devotion. It is doubt in disguise. It is the fear that if you don't hold on tightly, it might slip away. But what is truly yours does not require force to stay. So release the grip. Let your desire breathe. Let it exist without constant attention. Trust the assumption you have planted within yourself. Allow it to take root without interference. Because the moment you stop signaling lack is the moment you begin to experience fulfillment. And that is when everything starts to change. There is a profound shift that must take place within you if you are to experience true transformation. It is not a shift in effort, nor in strategy, nor in external action. It is a shift in identity. You must stop trying to get what you want and start being the one who already has it. This is what it means to live from the end state. Most people live from the state of wanting. Their thoughts, emotions, and actions are all rooted in the awareness that something is missing. Even when they visualize or affirm, there is an underlying feeling of, I hope this happens, or I am trying to make this real. But this very approach keeps the desire at a distance because it reinforces the idea that it is not yet theirs. Living from the end is completely different. It is the decision to internally step into the version of yourself who has already received. It is not about imagining something far away. It is about embodying something now. You are no longer reaching forward. You are settling into a reality that already exists within you. Ask yourself this. If everything you desired were already yours, how would you feel? How would you think? How would you carry yourself throughout the day? You would feel lighter, certain, at ease. There would be no desperation, no overthinking, no need to force anything. You would move with quiet confidence because there would be nothing left to chase. That is the state you must enter, not occasionally, but consistently. Living from the end is not a performance. It is not about pretending for a few minutes and then returning to doubt. It is about allowing that state to become your natural way of being. It is a gentle but firm shift in how you relate to yourself and your world. At first, it may feel unfamiliar. Your mind may try to pull you back into old patterns of thinking, questioning, analyzing, waiting. But each time that happens, you have a choice. You can either return to the state of lack or you can realign with the state of fulfillment. This is where persistence comes in, not as force, but as consistency. You keep returning to the feeling of already having. You keep reminding yourself of who you have decided to be. You do not fight your thoughts, you simply redirect your attention. Over time, something begins to stabilize within you. The state of having becomes more natural than the state of wanting. You no longer need to convince yourself. You simply know. And from that knowing, your entire perception shifts. You start to see opportunities where you once saw obstacles. You respond to situations differently. People begin to treat you in ways that reflect your new state. It may seem like the world has changed, but in truth, it is your identity that has shifted, and the world is responding accordingly. Understand this clearly. You do not attract what you want. You attract what you are. So if you remain in the state of wanting, you will continue to attract more reasons to want. But if you move into the state of having, you will begin to experience what it feels like to receive. There is no waiting in the end state. There is no hoping. There is only being. And being is enough. So stop looking at your current circumstances as evidence. They are only reflections of past states. Instead, choose the state you wish to occupy now. Feel it. Accept it. Live from it. Let it influence your thoughts, your reactions, your presence. Because the moment you truly live from the end, you collapse the distance between where you are and what you desire. And what once felt far away becomes your reality. There is a point in this journey where doing more becomes the very thing that holds everything back. You have imagined. You have assumed. You have stepped into the state of already having. But still many remain stuck, not because they are doing it wrong, but because they have not yet mastered the final step, letting go. Letting go is not forgetting your desire. It is not abandoning what you have chosen. It is releasing the need to control how and when it appears. It is the quiet decision to trust that what has been accepted within you is already in motion, even if you cannot yet see it. Most people struggle here because they confuse control with power. They believe that if they keep thinking about it, analyzing it, checking for signs, they are somehow helping the process. But in truth, they are interrupting it. They are stepping out of the state of having and returning to the state of doubt. Every time you ask, when will it happen? You affirm that it has not yet happened. Every time you question, is this working? You weaken your assumption. Every time you try to force a result, you declare that it is not already yours. This is why letting go is essential. Once you have assumed the state of fulfillment, your only role is to remain faithful to it, not by constant effort, but by quiet trust. You allow life to move. You allow circumstances to unfold. You allow the unseen to take form without your interference. Think of it like planting a seed. The moment it is placed into the soil, the process has already begun. You do not stand over it, demanding growth. You do not dig it up to check its progress. You trust that something is happening beneath the surface, even when nothing is visible. Manifestation works the same way. The moment you truly accept something as real within yourself, it is done. The outer world may take time to reflect it, but that delay is not a denial. It is simply the unfolding of what has already been set into motion. Trusting the process means you no longer react to appearances. You no longer let temporary circumstances shake your inner state. You understand that what you see is only a shadow of past assumptions, and that your current state is already creating the future. This kind of trust is not passive. It is deeply active, but in a calm and stable way. You are actively choosing not to doubt. You are actively choosing to remain in the feeling of completion. You are actively refusing to be pulled back into old patterns of fear and control. And as you do this, something powerful happens within you. You begin to feel free. Free from the need to figure everything out. Free from the pressure to make things happen. Free from the emotional ups and downs tied to external results. You move through life with a sense of ease because you are no longer waiting for something to complete you. You already feel complete. And from that place, manifestation becomes natural. It flows without strain. It arrives without force. It unfolds in ways that often surprise you because you are no longer trying to predict or manage every detail. Understand this: the process does not require your constant attention. It requires your alignment and your trust. So let go. Let go of the timeline. Let go of the need for proof. Let go of the urge to control every step. Hold only to the knowing that what you have accepted within yourself must, in its own perfect way, appear. Because when you truly let go, you make space for everything to come together. And what you once tried so hard to achieve arrives effortlessly. So now you see it clearly. It was never about effort. It was never about time. It was never about the world outside of you. It was always about the state you chose to live in. The moment you release the need to control, the moment you stop caring about when it will happen, something shifts within you. You become still, certain, complete. And from that state, reality has no choice but to conform, because the world does not respond to your desperation. It reflects your identity. So walk away from this moment differently. Not waiting, not hoping, not searching, but knowing that what you have accepted within yourself is already done. And when you truly know, you no longer care. And when you no longer care, everything appears. Thank you for being here and for allowing yourself to receive this message. If something within you shifted, even slightly, hold on to that feeling. That is where your power lies. Take this understanding with you and apply it quietly. There is no need to force anything. Just become aware of who you are being. If this resonated with you, stay connected. There is so much more to uncover, and it all begins within you. Until next time, remain in the state of knowing.